Hello everyone and welcome to another video with me, Umber Rays, and today we're going to be talking about something that is coming up for you global players, which is your next banner. A banner that I am particularly excited about because there are characters out there that I just absolutely love. And one type of character that I've always been a big fan of is Dragoons. Dragoons are just this kind of really neat character that's supposed to be this, trade-off of potentially time to get a very powerful strike. I've liked characters such as Freya, or, some of the characters from Heavensward, from Final Fantasy XIV, or, even Nomura likes Kain. So, needless to say, I needed to do just another video about this guy because this is one of my favorite characters in all of Brave Exvius, and honestly, I wish I could say some bad things about him because, as you all know, I just complain about everything, but there are some things I really like in Brave Exvius, believe it or not, and one of them is this. Dragoons have never been a character class in Brave Exvius that have ever really merited the cost. Even a lot of characters that were Dragoons before time jumps came along kind of felt more just like chainers, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, it's just kind of a less interesting thing. It's like taking a white mage and just making them a black mage. I mean no white mage abilities, otherwise they'd be red mages, but it's just this idea of, if you're going to have a class of character, you should actually make that class of character good. And yes, on Global, I know you guys have the wonderfulness that is Roberta. Roberta, unlike the JP side, is actually quite good, and I've heard many of the accomplishments that she has been able to do on the Global side for many Global players. But not everybody on Global may have Roberta, and some of you may be looking into the future. And to that, I have to say, definitely consider Cid. CG Cid is just an absolutely amazing character that a lot of long-term JP players will tell you about. If you're interested, you can even go back and check out my reviews on him, my re-reviews, my damage show-offs. He is just a character that I really like. I love his design. Green is like my favorite color. And his Limit Burst is just one of my favorites. It looks so cool when you get right down to it. Just this giant storm dragon made of the elements. Just really, really cool. Cid is primarily just a massive damage dealer. He has no chaining capabilities that are really worth speaking of. And for anybody who is super interested, I would say that it is absolutely worth getting him. If you are interested in Dragoons, for getting him just for his TMR, because his TMR is just really valuable. It is extra jump damage, it is, I believe true dual hand. It's been a little while since I've used him, but Cid is a really powerful character, and even to this day, he continues to be a really powerful character that people on the JP side are using. I remember I've had conversations in the past about, well, who cares? Why would you fit a chain finisher into your team? Chain finishers are just kind of a really valid strategy for capping off a ton of damage, especially if they have killers. Now, Cid here, unlike Roberta, is primarily focused on Beast. Beast is not always useful, I will admit. However, Cid kind of just is really solid for a lot of different trials. The other thing that is really important to know about him is that he is not only good for the true dual hand era. This was something that I showed off a lot back during the true dual hand era before the true dual wield era came to JP. And the thing is that he is actually still really good. It is a dog. It is a dog out there. That's what I was hearing. I wish more people had cats. They're quieter. Anyway, I really, this guy is just good even into the future with dual wield. As a matter of fact, his damage output is even scarier as a true dual wield unit than a true dual hand unit, and that speaks worlds. Because he was already impressive when I was just running him as true dual hand. He is great for getting through a lot of trials. He is just a fantastically cool unit. He is one of my favorite sprites in the game. There isn't much else to say. I just really love this character. This is a fantastic unit to get your hands on. And speaking of that, there is, of course, the Step Up, which this time is actually a really nice little step up. I actually think I like this a lot, because there is actually a guaranteed rainbow on the final step, and there is 5 times rates for CG Sid, so, and not only that, sorry, a little sick still, you can run this step up 2 times. 1 time can leave you kind of high and dry, because of the rates, but I do believe that the odds should be pretty good of getting at least a or 2 Sids running 2 versions of this if you are interested. The other thing is just a guaranteed rainbow on it is a lot more solid than I think I've ever seen on the JP side, so I really like this. I think it's a solid step up, and a guaranteed rainbow for basically, you know, what is it, 11,000 Lapis, is just really good. Sid is, I will throw a voucher behind this guy. Roberta fans, I get it, you like Roberta, you'll probably stick with Roberta, but even if this guy's TMR is really good for Roberta, and so you should definitely think about getting a copy as well, but I will put a strong recommendation into him. Of course, in the future on Global, there are going to be a couple of really big units coming in the future in terms of their importance, and to that extent, again, because we're talking about chain finishers, have to bring up a particular unit that is just kind of quintessential here on the JP side, and is just really almost fundamental at this point, which is Regina, or Bigina, or just a ton of different names that she has, or basically the God Killer. She is just such a powerful unit. She is probably more long-term-y than Sid. Sid really requires, you know, using his jumps and his cooldown to make his one jump that is absolutely insane just so much faster. That's his 30-turn cooldown jump. Regina has a couple of advantages. She has different types of killers that are accessible to her, which is one thing that is really big. Like, some people wonder why I don't say really nice things about units with killers a lot of the time, and it depends on the killers. It depends if the killers feel really relevant. It also depends if they have more than one type. I'm never a bit overly impressed by a single killer. Yeah, it makes a unit a specialty, but this isn't a game that, unless you're spending a lot of money, you can really get a lot out of, you know, specialty units, because that implies that you are able to have enough resources to pull, you know, specialty units and just have them sitting there for the time that they are useful. Regina is kind of the opposite of, whoops, ooh, almost knocked my phone down, of chain finishers on the JP side. She is incredibly powerful. She can just dish out so much damage, and she has multiple types of killers. Sid doesn't have the killers and is kind of relegated to, you know, a couple of turns where he's super useful. So his damage output isn't quite as consistent as Regina. Regina can basically go kind of through a nice little cycle of having, you know, set up killers, just blast the enemy down with a single hit, then use her limit burst, then, you know, regen MP if she needs, and then just go again. And it's just a much more consistent damage output. So if you're a big fan of Dragoons, I would say definitely you're probably going to go for Sid. Who am I kidding? But I really like Sid. Sid has been very useful for me in the past, and he still continues to be. Regina, though, is another option for anyone out there who is looking for something a little bit, maybe a little bit more flexible, a little more generally damage outputty. But I also believe Sid has better survivability, so, you know, it's a little mix of here and there. But both Regina and CG Sid are really good units. I'm trying to even remember what the banner was for Regina, if she was I think she was a single rainbow, because it was a story event, much like CG Sid. But I don't remember quite as good of a deal as this, so CG Sid seems like he is pretty good value. Of course, he has gotten his enhancements on the JP side. They did a fair bit to improve him, but nothing like considerably too insane, I felt like. Just solid, good enhancements. Yeah, so, let me know. What do you think? Are you going to go for Sid? Are you just going to save up? The next CG unit after CG Sid should be Axstar. You should be closing right in on there. I would expect to see Axstar paired off with this unit. Her name is Carlet. She's a pretty awesome little red mage, if not just for the sprite, for her kit too. But we'll talk about her later. There's also Nagi and Yigo, and I'll be interested to see if Global gets Swoblez. But Axstar, of course, is coming, so plan your resources, spend them wisely. But yeah, CG Sid, absolutely one of my favorite units. Nothing bad to say. So that's all for now. See you next time, but also remember Regina. Regina. Oh my god, Regina. Anyway, see you next time.